Hello! My name is Emily Drum. I am an aspiring author and I've been working on a book for almost 10 years. And I have decided that I'm done trying to make it perfect and I'm done trying to fix something that is probably some of my best work up until now. So I'm just gonna get it out there. I am looking for a publisher for it. So I'm doing that process, but while I'm doing that process, I just really feel like this story really just wants to be told. So this is my book called The Soul Keeper, and I'm just gonna read it to you. And I really appreciate if you listen, if you like, subscribe. I'll be reading the entire book, chapter by chapter. It's my name, it's my channel name. But yeah, I just really think that the story wants to be heard, so I'm just gonna start reading it to y'all. And here we go with the prologue. They dragged Josh's body through the torchlit hallway, smearing a trail of blood behind him. It became the only color that stood out against the black stone walls that surrounded them. Scarlet on shadows, life on death. Fitting. 2 guards escorted Josh's damaged body through this ring of torment. His eyes crusted over and blocked his vision, but he'd memorized their faces. Once, he wondered how it would feel for their bones to break under his fingers. He'd entertained his mind by imagining what it would sound like. Would their screams sound different from each other, or would the pitch reach high enough to compare to his cries? Would they bleed just like he did? He understood now. Demons don't bleed. Demons don't scream. Demons torment. Each breath shifted Josh's splintered bones further into his muscles, creating a type of artwork he experienced with awe. His ribs, his legs, his arms, his hands, beautiful and hellish, breathtaking as fire. That's why he existed, to be a canvas for this torture. He didn't mind anymore. An instinct told him his body couldn't keep up with this. The end drew near for him, and that's all that mattered. The guards continued to carry him for several minutes, shifting every once in a while for a better grip on his bloody arms. These shifts sent extra bolts of color ripping through Josh's body, ones that added to his gallery of agony. Josh couldn't help the gasp that escaped. "You can put an end to it," one of his tormentors whispered, the one with the square face and dark hair. Squareface continued, "Tell us where Aesaric hides, and we'll give you release." Aesaric. He's all Josh heard about. They feared him, he thought. Strange, his tired mind mused. A man who scares the devil must be powerful indeed. A man of light, of grace, of salvation. A weight that countered the darkness and death Josh lived in. A savior Josh would betray in an instant if he actually known him. He'd trade this hero for his own death with his last heartbeat. If only he remembered. The guard stopped at a door. The one on Josh's left let go of his arm to open the cell. Pain shot up his otherwise numb shoulder. Dislocated. Only muscles and skin held his arm together, and Josh moaned. The tendons in his neck flexed, adding a new agony as the scabs covering his burned skin cracked open again. Something else had been there too. 6 slits, 3 on each side of his neck that used to be able to fill his lungs with huge breaths. The burns ruined them though. He'd never breathed the same since. Josh didn't need to see in order to feel the atmosphere change from the dark hallway to that of a small, musty room. They set him on his back, and another moan escaped his dry throat. Josh waited for them to leave, but the shifting of a boot on the cracked stone ground alerted him to someone leaning over. Last chance. Real emotion rang in the guard's plea. That sounded like the tall, skinny one. Tell me where he is while you still have a choice. The chime of steel sliding against leather filled Josh's ears, and something cold kissed his neck. I'll free you right now. Where is Aesaric? Tears collected behind Josh's closed eyes. He'd cut his throat himself if his fingers weren't crushed. I don't know. A breath of silence followed, as if the man thought a few more seconds could jog his memory. Then his presence retreated from Josh's broken form. A moment later, he heard the strong iron door bang shut. Josh lay there, bleeding his life into the stones as the sharp click of keys locked him in. Loud boots echoed down the hall until the suffocating darkness swallowed them. Josh's heart stuttered, and something inside him stopped working, some organ or function that went cold from prolonged abuse, a sensation only the dying can experience. He didn't have long now. Let it be done then. Josh trembled harder, waiting for the end. Ah! Josh started painfully as the gravelly old voice filled his ears. Nothing is like watching a man give up. But not just give up, no, nothing so simple. Watching one want to give up, to want to stop, to choose it. The woman's voice chuckled. It's delicious. Chills spread over Josh, invisible spiders crawling over his tortured body. Though, the voice continued, you're just a boy at the moment. 17, I'd guess. Funny how that works. The monster cackled in a mad, deliberate way. Are you a boy or a man? Or neither? Is a human still a human after he is reduced to a piece of scorched meat? Or is death when a man gives up hope? So many questions, yet no true answers. You would know about that, wouldn't you? Who? Josh's throat closed up. His tongue felt numb and foreign in his mouth. The pain fuzzed around the edges. It was harder to think. Josh slipped further and further toward the light. Maybe that's why he could feel her there. He knew when she shifted and imagined he can feel her cold breath on his neck. Her very soul filled the room. It's so hard to talk to someone who can't look you in the eyes. Let's fix that, shall we? A deep vibration reverberated against Josh's back. He sucked in a breath, his heart thumping as the shaking intensified. With a screech, the stones buckled under Josh's dead weight. His eyes shot open, despite the blood gluing them together, adrenaline pumping what was left of his mangled body into action. He tried to sit up, but his body sank into the ground. No, he didn't sink. The ground rose up to swallow him, striking his back and sending individual pebbles scraping against his skin. The fragments of stone molded around his body and squeezed his splintered bones. Things inside him ripped, bleeding inside and out. Josh lost the ability to breathe, the last of his oxygen slipping past his lips as with all the fire raging in his chest. Much better. Josh only had moments left. He knew this. He felt it. A spark flickered. Not one of pain, but something Josh couldn't name. Defiance. It came from beyond the blackness that hid his memories, reaching out and crossing into his mind while his soul balanced between life and death. In that moment, Josh got an inkling of who he'd been before this. I did have a life. This thought filled Josh's chest. I'd been something before this, maybe even someone admirable. Slowly, Josh forced his head to lift. If that's the case, I'll not shy away. I'll look the abyss in the eyes. With incredible willpower, Josh peered through his tears. Instead of a reaper, an old woman filled his view, small and fragile, the stoop of her shoulders poking beneath the loose robe hiding her bony figure. Knobby hands clutched a walking stick, and a black, teardrop-shaped medallion dangled from her neck. The onyx gem matched her dark eyes. A master painter couldn't have created a more fitting image of age-old wisdom trapped in an insufficient frame, completely harmless from a physical perspective. However, the more he looked at her, the faster Josh's blood pumped through his body. Terror rose in Josh's chest, his heart doubling to impossible speeds. Run, the beats in his chest urged. Run. Yes, this will do much better. The hag rasped with a smile as stretched and twisted ways across her face. Kintecht asked this before leaving. Such a nice fellow. I will ask just the same, if you don't mind. Her black eyes bored into him. Where is Aeseric? This again. The questions never changed, even on the brink of death. I don't know, he whispered to her. He repeated, this time begging the words. I don't know. This marked the end of him, the end of 32 days of endless torment, 32 days of not knowing, 32 days of extended death. Josh wanted to scream. Was this all that life had to offer? Would this be his legacy? To die as nothing more than the product of a hell experienced in life? I do believe you're broken enough. Her breath crawled over his face. I can make the transfer, but the success will be up to you. What will you do, Josh? The woman's whisper wormed its way into Josh's conflicted thoughts. What will you do to have all your pain taken away? To walk out of this cell on your own 2 feet? What will you do to live? Josh didn't say anything for a moment, taking a last breath against all odds for his final, honest statement. The one question he can answer. Anything. His confession split the air, his final exhale. You're telling the truth. The woman's wrinkled eyes widened in awe. Disloyalty is very unlike you. What if... No, we're right. He's definitely got the smell. What if... No, they would never. But that would explain. Josh's quick heartbeat slowed as the pain continued to fuzz around the edges. He slowly slumped in the rocks holding him. If this is true, take your freedom. The entire cell hummed with a deep, soundless rhythm. Look into my eyes. I can't do this anymore, Josh thought. I can't risk another moment of this. But freedom. Josh clung to that concept. He'd never been free before. Life. He'd never actually lived before. Was that even possible? Sleep. A haze appeared in the darkness beyond Josh's vision. The light. He could follow it. He could be done. But what if her offer was real? Freedom is close. Josh heard the whispers from the world of life. Why do you deny yourself? Raise your head, lift your eyes, and you will be healed. Something in Josh snapped, and awe swept through his body. Did he still have hope? Did he still long for some sort of life? Curse this place. It wouldn't even let you die. Amazing how it could still find ways to crush and twist him. He turned away from the warm light. I'll meet you again. That was a promise. He followed the whispers, forcing another breath into his damaged lungs. With a last flare of defiance, he wrenched his eyes open. Yes. The woman stood nose to nose with Josh, eyes hungry. You accept the price. You accept enslavement for relief. Josh's blood froze. What? You accept your role as the Soul Keeper's pawn. For a moment, her words didn't make sense. When they did, Josh's world shattered. No! He writhed inside the rocks, tearing his flesh and worsening his wounds. No! He would not be a slave. Every particle in his body rebelled against the idea. Death would be better. Why had he refused it? Why had he refused? The witch smiled, her crooked teeth set in black gums. Then she took him. Josh let out a guttural scream, her gaze piercing his head. She tore it open, trespassing into the sacred space of his mind. He thrashed harder as suffocating blackness seeped into every corner of his brain, latching on firmly. Every thought, every memory became hers. The darkness settled into the crevices, watching, waiting, ready to wake up and consume him. No! And now, the witch said, your gift. Something in that moment changed. The darkness shifted, violating other parts of his body. The rocks released him, falling to the ground around him in a heap. Josh constricted in spasms as pain flashed through his being, but then shifted. The pain changed. Energy ran through his body, and he lifted his head and glanced at his twisted legs, watching as they set themselves straight. The slits in his neck flared, sucking in the air as he held his mangled fingers in front of his face. The broken bones snapped painfully back into place as he watched. Using them, he touched his cheek. The skin felt rough and uneven, but painless. After just a few seconds, the damage to Josh's body completely healed. As he sat there astonished, the darkness in his head stirred. Yes, it whispered in the witch's voice. I think this will work out nicely. A coldness swept through Josh. She's in my head. His thoughts were numb. Somehow, Josh knew that she wouldn't ever leave. She'd cursed him. Tears rolled down his face. No, out of the hundreds of torments, this was the only one he'd inflicted with his own hands. After all this, he'd cursed himself. Josh knew he would never be the same. If you listened this far, thank you so much. That's kind of a longer prologue, but very, very necessary, and thank you for listening. I hope you all continue to enjoy it, and if not, I'm just glad for this story to finally start getting out there. So I hope you all have a great day. Bye.